Climate change. You hear a lot about it, but do you really know what it means? Climate change occurs on a global scale, but you can feel it on a local scale, no matter where you are. It is due to human activity that alters the composition of the global atmosphere, in addition to natural cyclical changes in the climate.
Climate change is a global phenomenon, so burning coals or increasing the use of private fuel-based cars in any part of the world may affect you.
The continuous rise of greenhouse gas (GHG) emissions
Will lead to adverse effects such as temperature rise, sea level rise, precipitation change, droughts and floods, which ultimately translate into significant negative impacts on human and natural systems such as food, water, biodiversity, human health, economic and social development.
Addressing climate change raises two challenges for most countries: a necessity to diminish greenhouse gas emissions, mitigation, and the need to anticipate and diminish the adverse effects of a changing climate, adaptation. Is the climate changing in Romania? There's evidence that says it is.
For example, in 2005, historic floods hit Romania and caused casualties and significant property damage. In 2007 was Romania's warmest year in 2 decades. Average temperature was 11.5 degrees Celsius. During the same year, Romania experienced the most severe drought in the last 60 years.
So what does this mean? It means that people need to prepare to address climate change risks through mitigation measures, which involve reducing human greenhouse gases emissions by, for example, using low-carbon energy sources and planting more trees. And through adaptation, which means changing the way we do things so we can reduce the adverse effects of climate change by, for example, developing drought-tolerant crops or promoting water savings. How about climate change around the world?
Many international actors, such as the European Union, United Nations, and international financial institutions, IFIs, are taking worldwide actions against climate change. In 1992, Romania signed the United Nations Framework Convention on Climate Change, the UNFCCC, and in 2001, Romania ratified the Kyoto Protocol, an international agreement which commits its parties by setting international binding emission reduction targets.
The European Union committed to becoming a highly energy-efficient, low-carbon economy by 2020. As a member state of the European Union, through the European Structural and Investment Funds,
Romania has the opportunity to invest more than 23 billion euros until 2020. At least 20% of these funds should include climate-compatible actions and objectives,
such as reducing greenhouse gas emissions or adapting to climate change impacts. Romania needs to act early on several directions to achieve effective climate change policies, integrate climate change measures in sectoral policies across line ministries,
improve institutional capacity building at national level to address climate change,
improve education and raise public awareness on climate change challenges. There are various key sectors for addressing climate change in Romania, such as the energy sector,
which contributes to about 58% of greenhouse gas emissions,
the transport sector, which contributes to about 12% in total GHG emissions so far, but has been increasing rapidly, up 36% since 1990, the urban space, where 56% of the population and the majority of economic activities are located, the agricultural sector, responsible for over 15% of total GHG emissions and a very vulnerable sector to climate change. The water sector, vulnerable to changes in precipitation, river flows, water supply, and patterns of floods and droughts.
And the forest sector, as a major sink of greenhouse gases.
What are the next steps? The Ministry of Environment and Climate Change, with the support of the World Bank, plan to address climate change issues by updating the National Climate Change Strategy and developing the National Action Plan on Climate Change. The technical assistance provided by the World Bank on climate change should help evaluate the impacts of climate-related decisions and pave the road for a low-carbon green growth economy in Romania by promoting climate-friendly practices. Find out more about how the Ministry of Environment and Climate Change, with the support of the World Bank, helps fight climate change by following the link on screen. Project co-financed by the European Regional Development Fund through Operational Program Technical Assistance 2007-2013.